So let's begin. So I want to do this roundtable in less than 30 minutes, so everybody's ready to leave and take off, and they don't have to worry about the traffic jam in Marginal do Pinheiros and Tietê. Okay. So just to close this, Antonio, please. This is the last section that's we are talking about the cloud electrification process and light detection system. So the idea is just to conduct the discussion. So we'll be like 5 minutes, no more than that, discussing each one of those topics so we know it. So I'll give just like a quick look of the Shuva data sets that we have it. What are the goals of Shuva? And that's when I'll begin to ask some questions and talking about a little bit about GLM proxy data that we saw a lot of presentations about that, and how the Shuva GLM campaign can help us to increase our knowledge about lighting and electrification process. That's one of the goals that is being seeked in the Shuva project, at least in the working group that I coordinate with Luis, so that we are trying to investigate that. And we'll be talking later on about the data set release, so how we are going to do it, especially for the GLM campaign, and some golden cases that we would like to study that I think everybody can benefit with that. And if the time permits, so just like reminding everybody about the Go Amazon, okay? So for the lightning data sets, so what we are doing is that for all the field campaigns, we are using SARnet as measurements of lighting, and of course, as we get like more partners participating in the lightning activity, so doesn't no more than 200 spherics per day. And then we go to Belém. It has the same regime, but as Evander showed before, the field mills show some very strong electrofield measurements that contradicts those things. And then, when you look at for the lease maps, it makes sense because we have a higher intercloud measurements over there. So then we go to Valley, so as we get approach to a more continental style, so then we can get like as much as 2,000 and 3,000 spherics per day. And then finally, so when we go to Santa Maria, it's another continental site, so, and we have all these MCSs and skull lines that were passing there, and some of them that Fernanda was showing about the sprites, so we had between the December 10 and 12, more than 5,000 spherics over Santa Maria area. So we had a lot of lightning activity there. For the another lighting data set, what we have done is that in every field campaign, we are deploying field mill networks. So we begin with Belém in 3, and then Vale do Paraíba we installed 4, plus another sensors from CTA, especially from Ferro work. And then Santa Maria, we installed another 5 sensors as well, and with the Go Amazon, we expect to go up to 12 field mill measurements over there. Besides that, what we have done in Vale, so you saw Rachel's presentations and everybody else's presentations, so she gave an overview of all the total lightning data sets that we have available, and then the VLF and LF measurements that we have performed. So here are most of the periods, begins on November, and it goes up to March of 2012. So then later on, so we'll be discussing all those things. These data sets are available on level 1A, that's almost the way that comes in real time, and then level 1B, that's process, and some of them they have flash categories instead of strokes or sources. So it depends on each data set. Other lighting measurements, and they are not archived on the data set of Shuva due to the very large amount of data. So we combine it with them so that whenever you wanted some data set, so you have to write directly to those guys. So we have the high-speed cameras, the rammer, as Antonio showed to you today. High-speed cameras and slow-fast antennas from Marcelo Saba's group. High-speed cameras when was measuring sprites, that's with Fernanda, so you have some case. And the field mills in São Paulo that were performed with Rosângela at FEI, that's the Faculdade de Engenharia Industrial. So this is a brief overview of the lighting data set that we collected through the Shuva campaigns. So let's go now. So just an overview what we are studying here, the lighting in Shuva, as Luis gave an overview in the first day. So when we see the rainy season in Brazil, so you have like a very dependent season dependent on the summertime, so where we have most of the rainfall. But when you look at for the lightning season or the lightning yearly season, we see that sometimes you do see rainfall with lightning, but sometimes you do not see a lot of rain with lightning. So the Shuva was a great opportunity to try to understand those kind of things. And when we wrote the proposal, we are interested mainly in how cloud microphysics and electrification process evolves during the cloud's life cycle. So can we seek something that can give us a hint what would become a Turner storm or not? And of course, and the whole idea of Shuva is provide a lot of a precipitation data set for GPN, but also build a database of cloud properties, including association with electrification features. So what are those things? Describe the temporal evolution of the electrical field during thunderstorms. The idea here is, can we understand how the clouds are evolving through thunderstorms? Can we later on predict when will be the first cloud to clouds or intercloud discharge and cloud to ground? So that's the whole idea. And finally, try to decide the temporal evolution of the lighting activity, cloud area and surface rainfall and rainfall volume as we are looking for the GPM activity. So to some extent, what we saw here today was a very nice presentation of Ken showing how important is this data set. That was one of the main challenges we faced during the GLM campaign here, was compile a lot of efforts from a lot of teams that brought a lot of lighting networks here that could later on be used as a proxy data in a different places, not just the place where you have LMA or LINET or TLS 200. And then that's one thing that Ken showed to us, a very nice tool that you can use it and later on so use as a proxy data. So, and then what I want to ask to Ken, because he worked on this issue here and he's coming from a different department from the US, and of course Earl Williams already left us also, so they could discuss a little bit. So the idea is that how Shuva GLM campaign can help us to increase our knowledge about lighting and electrification processes. So far we have measured a lot of data. So we have this wonderful campaign that's unprecedented. So I think some very few campaigns look like this detail. So it's a very good opportunity to learn it, not just about the lightning process, but also the electrification process. And which lessons do we take from this campaign and what we can do next? Because, as I said, we will be another campaign, the Go Amazon, or in another places. So what lessons we can take from this one and go beyond? So I'll ask Ken just to give some, like a brief like a discussion, because he has to take a plane.
Okay. Well, I would say that you've done really a fantastic job of assembling the measurements needed to make good progress on electrification and lightning, because you had the radars, you had the volumetric radars, you had them. They weren't always in exactly the spot you wanted them, but this is, really a tough campaign to pull together. So you really got a lot of wonderful things. All the lightning systems produce complementary data. So the VHF systems can give you the general shape and charge distribution in the cloud, but you need the LF systems to tell you when the current flows. So you need all of those systems together. If you start to do as one of the young presenters did today, I don't remember his name, but to try and break your volumetric radar data and your dual pole data into chunks, little volumes that are the same size, and characterize the source densities associated with that, and then potentially relate that to the charge transfer that you can get from the LF networks and the VLF networks, you can really produce a life cycle evolution of charge separation, breakdown processes, horizontal extent, time sequences of those, and then charge transfer, and really speak to that question, that whole life cycle, these data sets you have now allow you to do those things. So I'm excited about what you can do here. I think the biggest thing that you might learn from here is that you take all this, you have some good knowledge, and then maybe you do a 10% reformulation of maybe where things sit and how long it lasts might be the only things that I would say.
Thanks so much, Ken. So since the time is moving, so we had to
Yes.
go. Is anybody wants to comment on Ken or in the questions that we posed? So can be another ones as well. No?
Yeah, this is Jeff Bailey. I think
Okay, go ahead.
I think I echo Ken's comment on the complementary data set. I think all of them together make a much better data set than just one by itself.
Okay, Jeff, thanks. Is anybody? Do you want to comment anything, Luis? No? Okay. So let's go on. So that's one thing that's a very important thing. So data release. Right now, so all the lighting data collected during the GLM campaign. So far, what do we have? So LMA, LINET, and ISRANET can be available as today. So they have all agreed that they can release all the data set for the public, the general public. So now we had to discuss with all the data providers that can we set January 14 to release all the lighting measurements to the general public or not. So we had to discuss that. I think it's a very important one. And we have time so far to play a little bit with the data. So we are more knowledgeable about the data set than everybody else. So if we are afraid about the publication and so on, so we have this advantage because we are using it with the data set. So, and besides, so what happens is that what we are seeing for publications, we make like a general advertisement publication showing the GLM as a campaign that gave the great opportunity to study the cloud process and proxy data for GLM, and then give us an opportunity to understand the different process. I think this afternoon, we saw several presentations that were showing how important it is to combine a lot of techniques, like Marcelo's group, Osmar's group, so they showed detailed information about the lighting process as observed by cameras and by electrical field measurements. So, and other ones did some intercomparisons between LMA. So those things give us an opportunity to show what each systems are measuring or not. So we go for publications going everybody, so just as like a general announcement, like we could think as like a GRL as a note or BAMS. That's, I think, one of the right places to show that, because we'll give an opportunity that everybody else can do it and follow the same ideas that we are doing that. So it's open for discussion. I think that's a great opportunity. So I don't know, you want to start something, Harmart? You want to speak something?
This data have been funded, yes, in my case, by UMETSAT. So we have, of course, asked to them. We have not, I think we have agreed up to now that we make it publicly available. Was that part of the?
Yeah, part of the data agreement.
Part of the data agreement, yeah. So then I think it is okay. Certainly, we might think if we can make a common publication, maybe, as you mentioned. That would be a good thing to have an overview paper,
Yeah. So then,
please, so we can demonstrate what we can do with the data, how useful it is, and include some key results already. Huh?
yeah, I think that's
And then go
you can
into
develop
details with a special publication.
Do you want to ask Amitabh before he leaves? Just if he wants to.
Amitabh, a few words before you leave.
I can't leave before Ken leaves. So,
I'm sitting.
well, in general, I think it was the campaign itself was very useful and enlightening, from purely from the technology perspective as well. because some of the presentations that were made today do actually show what we can do in terms of understanding the various aspects of the same thing that we are measuring over here. So when we are measuring the optical radiance versus we are measuring VHF versus LF and BLF, and whether it's measurement of peak current and the connection of that peak current with optical radiance. So we are looking at, I think we had, from the electromagnetic spectrum standpoint, we were covering a large portion of it. And that is always a good thing, because by looking at slices of the spectrum, we can't always arrive at full answers. So that was, I think, an aspect of this campaign that was really useful. The wholesomeness of the measurements that allowed us to look at the same problem from a variety of aspects. Cool.
Thanks so much.
So I have a comment about the publication issue. I think, having come from the industrial side in years past, I think that it would be, and I think this was potentially the original plan, that if someone was going to publish something that involved a detailed analysis of someone else's data sets, that the people who had created the data in the first place and who knew the strengths and weaknesses or the design objective of that data set would be allowed to comment on that before it was submitted for publication. Do you view that as a baseline that would occur anyway, or if there were a common publication, then that might cover that aspect, and then people could just publish what they wanted?
Yeah, I think it's a very good idea to do that. But I think if we do that, it's going to take a lot of time, because everybody we have to look in their data and so on. And I think if we do a more in a general perspective, like ADAMS, like a plan approach,
yeah,
and then everybody begins to do
state
this.
what their objectives of their design were and what they feel their instruments do.
So, and I think that would be more like a data release. What was the achievements of the campaign, and then we do the specific one. I think that would be an easier process, at least faster way. So
maybe there might be a small editorial board that did look at it.
Okay, sounds.
Where if you felt there was an issue, you could raise it. But if it's something that's washed over the sands enough time, there's no reason to waste anyone's time on it.
Okay.
And the editorial board just might, not really editing per se, but just screening and then bringing it to some group's attention if they felt there needed to be some clarity. I did things like this for 20 years, and what I tried to prevent was people publishing epiphenomenon about something that they latched onto in a data set that they thought was inherent. And they go off and publish a paper and then take the times of the reviewers and the public to read it, and someone could give a one-sentence answer as to why that wasn't a meaningful observation. You want to avoid that.
All right. Okay, thanks. And I want to ask Osmar later on to be the next one. He wants to talk something about.
Let me just make one comment about publication. We are going to prepare a paper for the Bulletin of American Meteorological Society. Was already approved the proposal for this bulletin about the Chuva project in all the context. And after this workshop, when you can see more than 50 papers presented and the quality is going very high, I think we start to have enough material to start discussion about a special issue in a specific journal for the Chuva papers in general point of view. This does not exclude a main paper about intercomparison of electricity, but this is something that we are going to work now to go further.
That's what I thought, but yeah, I thought about that, but I didn't know if we could do that. So I think Osmar could talk a little bit about the point of view of Brazil data and green data. I don't know.
Well, regarding this first issue about release to general public in January 2014, I think it's okay for me. I think for people working have time to publish first something, I think is fair. And about publications, my view is that we should start with a general paper, including all people involved in all networks. Maybe I have already suggested that Rachel coordinate this paper. And then, after this paper, I think all people is free to publish, try to publish everything that you want. This is my view.
All right. Thanks, Osmar. And I think Antonio can talk about his camera point of view, and then Marcelo, so we are talking about cameras, and then it goes one and then. And hold on, Jeff, I'm going to ask you as well.
I think that the high-speed cameras are enough to some kind of analysis, but there are other analysis, like I showed in the presentation, and several analyses that can be that the videos can be used has a kind of ground truth. So I think a lot of people can use that data, and I see no reason to let it to not release to public or to other people to publish. Yes, for anything.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Antonio. So I'll leave now to Marcelo. Just say it.
I'll say about the same. We have students working on these videos, comparing to other data. But again, if any people who's got data that could be and would be interested in some videos, could just ask us, and then we provide. Okay.
Want to talk something? No? Okay. Jeff, do you want to some comment?
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure what you meant by general public. Are you talking just the scientific community or not?
It's a scientific. But,
yeah, scientific, but like open at Shuva, like all the other data sets.
But I would go a little bit further than I think what Ken said, was that if they use anybody's data, then we have the right to be on the publication, at least the right of refusal to be on it anyways. So.
Okay, follow the MOU.
Yeah.
Okay.
One comment that I want to make is that for LMA to release to the public, I think we should release the data without noise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because
should be level 1C. Okay,
and
Jeff,
a lot of
you
questions
need
to Rachel.
go level 1C now.
Yeah, I think that's going to be ready in a couple months, like I said. So my talk. Now, and just to follow on to that, I mean, I've done a lot of, or at least almost all of the lose over passes, and on that given day, all the data for that day. So if somebody needs a certain day that I haven't done yet, I can probably process it in a couple hours, on an individual basis.
We will work on that, Jeff. We will do all the days. Okay. Rich.
So I think that Rachel said something important. The data released to general public should be released after the corrections. So because maybe some guys use the data without not knowledge about these limitations and publish some things very wrong. So perhaps Claudia can add something about this point as well.
Only about Brasilbat, we need to include the nanosecond information for all the solutions and correct the peak current estimation before open for the scientific community. And okay, Stan is working on the systematic error for location accuracy due to the high mountains. Yeah, but I'm not sure. I have to talk to Stan.
I think adding that. So what we can do is that we send a general email to the Lightning community guys saying, okay, we are about to release. We put it like a January 14th. So we would like that everybody makes like the final processing with the latest README and corrections and so on that is going to be released. So then
Yeah.
everybody's going to be aware of what they have to do it and with the time.
Yeah, I'll try to, yeah. And the last thing that I think it's a suggestion is to include on the light information the sensor status. Which sensors are working at that day, at that time, because we have some problems looking at the data for climatological wave for the whole period. Sometimes you have a lot of sensor failures during the campaign, a limit even for TLS or other sensors. So I think that we have to include this information on the README and the files, because once you choose a day and the sensors is not working, so you'll not get a good comparison on that day.
Good point, Kleber. I think that's it's good to add that information on the email. Okay, so I think we are set with that. So let's move on to for the golden case that Rachel just posed. Like, see later on if we can work out. So I think Rachel can talk a little bit more.
Like golden cases, several people ask me like which are the golden ones. So for proxy data for GLM and lease, and then also intercomparison naturally, they are the 15 lease overpasses, and we have 5 that were very good over this 15. And the main ones that I've seen people working on are 10th of February and 27th of March. So I don't know, we could work like on these 2 and also on the other 5. Like for the other remaining days, like when we don't have lease overpasses, then I don't know, suggestions like a very good case.
There are red
Rachel, I might add January 19th to that list.
Sorry?
In fact, January 19th, I think, is also a pretty good overpass day, as I remember. It's one that Ken worked on.
For Liz?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
That's Ken.
Ken left.
Okay, there are already some golden days that was chosen. It's not related to the lease overpass, but was related to the thunderstorms. That was a big effort being done for getting modeling high resolution radar data. So it would be nice to add this golden day that was chosen for modeling, that you have the ancillary data from that.
Thanks, Luis. Okay. And one more thing on the golden case. We have more suggestions on the LLS intercomparisons. Like I think we have seen a lot of today. So do you want to do something?
There is that one that Amtab was looking at. I don't remember the date. That one's very good. Kleber, do you have one?
Yeah, March we had February 21st. No,
20?
on 20 we had something.
Regarding this, I am working on a tracking system with the lightning. So I will provide a precipitation feature, lightning feature base for all the cases related with the radar and all the networks. So we will be able to see like which cases we have like big thunderstorms with a lot of light, but a little one that had way more lightning than the others, so we could test the performance of each network. But that's work in progress.
I'm sorry. That will happen in 2014 and 2015. The main goal of Go Amazon is to find the interaction of aerosols with clouds and precipitation. And after 10 days from today would be a proposal call from FAPESP, FAPEAN, together with the Department of State and Army and the United States to allow different proposals to be granted to participate in the Go Amazon to bring some insights about the interaction of aerosols with something that in our case lightning. So everybody that wants to do and participate, they are welcome, and we would like that you submit a proposal, and we had to find a partner in the US. That's a joint force. That's a very important element when you're writing the proposal. And I think some of you guys here that have lighting measurements, not just by LLS systems, but with cameras or field mirrors and so on, and would be very nice to go in Amazonia. So we are going to have a lot of instruments over there, and I think would be nice for you to go there.
Yeah, no, just comment. It's like a FAPESP and DOE call, so the PIs is one from Brazil, one from US. That's the requirement.
Energy. Yeah, Department of Energy. Yeah.
Energy, DOE.
Okay, so that ends the roundtable, and I think Luis can come over here to close the Shuva workshop.
Jeff, do you have
Jeff, do you want
anything else to say? Rich,
Rich,
you know who is
any
online.
final comments?
I don't know if you had time to. I wanted to answer Earl's question, but I already sent an email to Ken and Rachel.
Yeah, but Urs is not here anymore. He left.
Okay, so I would like to thank everybody to come in to this workshop. We were very fruitful, and we had this kind of the same workshop a year ago, and it's very clear how the studies and the science was doing better and better, and I think the impression I have is that we are organize a very good data set, and I hope that all these data are available to everybody as we have shown to the web page. And so I thank everybody to come to this meeting, and we are completely open for collaboration, and if someone has any issues to get the data, just ask Rachel.
No. I was looking at you. No, don't say that. Don't say that.
No, there is a email in the database to get some help. Thank you very much. And just one. I would like especially thanks Rachel and Carlos for the organization of the meeting. I'm now living in France, so they handle all this organization. I'd like to thanks, special thanks to Rachel and Carlos. Thank you very much.